I had 4 Void Souls going at the same time. I made my Void Soul army, the darn Avengers of Void Souls, showing up to back me up here. And this is crazy. I don't know how far you can go, but absolutely gonna make a build on this. So check out the channel and make sure to subscribe. What is up, guys? It's your boy, a man of his word, Cacus, and today we are going over the insanity of the Omega Giga Chad Void Soul build. Do you guys honestly still use weapons to get kills in this game? Cringe plus L plus ratio plus you fell off plus touch grass. Okay, like we are evolving to a whole nother level. This is the kind of tech we need to beat the Witness, and that is 5 Void Souls up at the same time, all sucking so many guys. Anyways, here's what we're going to be talking about. First off, the key piece of this build is the Briarbinds Exotic Gauntlets for the Warlock. You can acquire these either from solo lost sectors if it's a featured arms armor drop day, or from the Vex Incursion public event on Neomuna. So once you do get these, here's what they do. It says your Void Souls have longer duration. They also gain escalating damage and durability as they defeat targets. You can retrieve your Void Souls by interacting with them, allowing them to be redeployed. So there's actually a lot going on here. On a base level, it just makes your Void Souls better. Importantly, that escalating damage and durability means that their damage output is going to be significantly increased. Instead of just doing like the same damage, they're now going to be doing more and more and more and more damage. Remember, they're also applying a weaken effect when they're interacting with enemies. So that scaling damage plus that weaken, you're actually able to kill quite a few guys just by deploying a Void Soul. You don't need to also back that up with Firepower. The Void Soul will do all the sucking just on its own. Now, after that, the whole redeploying aspect is really where the insanity comes from, because when you pick up a Void Soul, as you can see, you actually get a timer in the corner of your screen. It says Void Soul ready, and it gives you 25 seconds. This is how much time you have to damage an enemy and have your Void Soul deploy. If you wait around for 25 seconds and never do that, your Void Soul will just despawn. And importantly, this is the exact same timer you will get when you normally just cast your class ability with the Child of the Old Gods aspect equipped without these exotic gauntlets. Now, here's the thing. It always gives you that 25 seconds whenever you pick up a deployed Void Soul. So, whether that Void Soul has been out there for, 20 seconds, it's just about to end, and you pick it up, it gives you 25 seconds. If you deploy your Void Soul and immediately pick it up 1 second later, it gives you 25 seconds. And that's because it's refreshing the timer. It's kind of refreshing the life of your Void Soul. Now, this means that when a Void Soul is out, if you have a class ability that's charged, you can cast it and generate another Void Soul. Then when you deploy that second Void Soul, you can pick up the first one, and again, it will reset with that whole 25-second timer, so you can now deploy that one, and then juggle 2 Void Souls. Or if you get another class ability within that mix, you can deploy a third Void Soul. So as long as you are picking up and redeploying your Void Souls fast enough, you can continuously add to a literal army of Void Souls. Again, I've gotten up to 4 or 5. At that point, maybe technically you can go higher, but it's kind of pointless because you're just juggling with too many Void Souls. Like, one is just going to despawn. You're keeping too much track of your Void Souls. You're probably better off actually shooting enemies at that point, you know what I mean? And another really important thing to know is that the damage from the Void Souls does not seem to stack, as you can see, right? I have 2 Void Souls right next to this yellow bar servitor, but I'm getting the same frequency of damage that I would get with just 1 Void Soul. And that kind of does make sense. You can't have 6 Void Souls ticking on the same guy. So you will have to spread out your Void Souls rather than putting them all in the same place if you want to get the most value out of them. But still, even though they don't stack, you can cover an entire area. Think of Altars of Sorrow on the moon, you can cover the entire spawning circle with Void Souls. No matter where those hive go, they're going to be sucked, like, immediately, okay? So that is the power of this exotic, is just deploying multiple of these Void Souls, and they're all boosted in power. Everyone you face will be weakened and damaged. Also, another interesting thing to know that's happening in the background gameplay, I had a teammate who also had these exotics, and I was able to pick up his Void Souls and redeploy them and him to mine. So that means if you have a bunch of teammates with these, everyone can just refresh each other's Void Soul timers so your army can get absolutely insane. But how do we build even further into these synergies and get the most out of this new exotic? Well, let's go over the rest of the build. So we're using Cataclysm Nova Bomb because it's based, then we've got a Healing Rift, then Pocket Singularity, Vortex Grenade. Importantly, the other aspect to Child of the Old Gods is going to be Feed the Void, where you defeat a target with a Void ability to activate Devour to get healing and all this stuff. So Devour will activate from the Void Souls. They count as a Void ability, so an obvious choice here. Then for the fragments, we have Echo of Harvest, where defeating a weakened target generates an Orb of Power and a Breach. Like I said, everybody's weakened, so that's amazing. Then we have Echo of Starvation, so pick up one of those Void Breaches or Orbs you generated, and you're going to get Devour. Yes, it's kind of a non-bow with our aspect, but this just guarantees we have Devour like all the time. Then we've got Echo of Vigilance for the Overshield, and Echo of Instability to get volatile every once in a while. Now, moving on from there, guys, when it comes to picking your weapon, you can actually go several different routes. You could just go with a cracked Void weapon, something like the Graviton Lance. It's amazing, got a massive buff recently, can't go wrong. It's going to be fantastic. Or you can go even further into the synergies. A great example is the Tidal Submachine Gun. If you have one of these from Guardian Games kicking around, remember that the origin trait Classy Contender makes final blows give you class ability energy. So obviously we're running 100 recovery. We want our class ability spawning as much as possible so we can generate more and more Void Souls, and the Tidal is going to help with that even more so. And another great example of this is the Traveler's Chosen. So this is going to make it so that kills will generate stacks of Gathering Light, and then you can hold reload to consume those stacks and get your abilities back. If you get times 10 stacks, it will give you literally all of your abilities back. Grenade, melee, and your class ability. So again, great for just getting your abilities back a ton and deploying a ton of Void Souls. And if you have the Catalyst, it actually gets Osmosis, so it itself will be a Void weapon. It can get volatile rounds and stuff like that. Even something like the Deafening Whisper here, if you have something with Wellspring, this will give you a class ability energy, so that could be a great choice as well. Now, moving on from there, guys, for the armor mods, we have a Harmonic Siphon to generate orbs, then we've got Font of Wisdom and Radiant Light to help the team. After that, we're going to be using Firepower, and then we're going to be using Bolstering Detonation so that our grenade kills will regen our class ability. Then we've just got a Fastball. Now, after that, we have kind of whatever resistance mods you need for the activity you're doing. Then, following that, we do have a Void Weapon Surge. Obviously, we're using Void Weapons, and we have Elemental Charge. We're generating a ton of Void Breaches, remember, because of our fragments, so this is a very good way to get an armor charge. After that, guys, for the bond, we have Powerful Attraction. I think this is a must. You're using your class abilities so much that obviously sucking in all of the orbs of power around you is fantastic. And then another great one is Reaper. So after using your class ability, which is all the time, the next weapon Final Blow spawns an Orb of Power. Like, we have a ton of Orb of Power generation. We're actually getting our super quite a bit because of it. Now, lastly, we just have a Bomber just to give a little bit more grenade energy when we use our class ability. And so there you have it. Honestly, a surprisingly effective build, but I'm gonna be real with you guys. Yes, you can go the Giga Chad generate as many Void Souls as possible route, but then again, all your time is just spent juggling. Realistically, this build is at its best when you're only juggling like 2 or 3 Void Souls, and then you're just deploying those Void Souls that are just so much more powerful than normal. You're using them to weaken enemies, and then you're just using your weapons as you normally would. And like as you move forward from area to area, you're bringing like Void Souls with you, so you can like get one off the rip, spawn your healing well, which you want to be in anyways, get another one in another area, and just spreading that weaken effect onto all these different enemies with your multiple Void Souls is really where this build is at its best. Guys, again, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.